Combating information confrontation is used by the FTIF to justify suppressing what the FBI calls alternative news sources. Under any set of circumstances, it can justify. So the FBI is out there doing that, shutting down alternative news sources. That's what they want to do. That's what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. And that's who Joe Biden is in bed with. And there are some people on some of the biggest new YouTube shows who are cool with this, publicly, still cool with this. If you're cool with this, news for you, you're not a journalist and you're not on the left. Newsflash. That's from a pothead jagoff comedian who does journalism way better than you. So go ahead, keep Russiagating, which is what set this up for censorship to be visited upon the left. It was told to the people who were Russiagating in real time, if you Russiagate, it's going to be used against the left to censor us. It's being used against the left to censor us, and those same fucking morons are still Russiagating. And they're still cheering on censorship from the intelligence community.
Here's Jimmy Dore talking about, really, you want to talk about depoliticizing people. Here's Jimmy Dore on his take on the slightly expanded squad.
I don't care if Cory Bush just got elected and fucking Jamal Bowman and the squad, and they're there to fake you out. Progressives inside the Democratic Party are there to fuck you up and fake you out. They're not there to help you. So this idea that somehow now Cory Bush and Jamal Bowman is going to somehow add to the heft of the progressive caucus is just a pipe dream, because you have 6 people or 7 people who are kind of progressive inside the Democratic Party. What that does is gives a false signal to workers that the Democratic Party is an opposition party. It is not. They are there to give you the false impression that it is. And that's why AOC is in the party. That's why Cory Bush is now in the party. They are not taking over this fucking party. That is not happening. Those people are head fakes inside the Democratic Party. More power to Cory Bush. It's a fool's errand to send you into the Democratic Party. You are going to be squashed. Hey, the Democrats just got Cory Bush and Jamal Bowman. We have expanded the squad so that now we have more progressives who will do exactly as Nancy Pelosi tells them.
So proud of himself.
Do you think AOC has the balls to call out Nancy Pelosi?
She literally just did.
All right. Well, we got. Yes. I mean, she's literally just did.
She just on the eve of Biden's victory had the balls to critique the Democratic Party on cable news and in an extensive New York Times interview where no one else is doing that. But yeah, let's vilify the only people who are fighting for us.
Yeah. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is refusing to take any of the blame for Democrats losing seats in last week's election. Instead, she's focusing on the future with a Democrat president. Congressional correspondent Chad Pergram is on Capitol Hill tonight with the latest. Good evening, Chad.
Good evening, Brett. Well, this is going to be the most narrow majority for any party in more than 2 decades. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi often uses the phrase, know your power. So I asked Pelosi that very question today.
But is there an end in any way by having a smaller majority and what that means for both the caucus, control of the House, and for your speaker?
May I remind you that we have a president of the United States. We have a president of the United States. That is so very important. And whether you're in the minority or majority, if the president is of your party, you have more power.
Pelosi today accepted no responsibility for losing seats. In fact, the speaker said she saved the majority, but Pelosi's power is already diminished, not just by losing seats, but by President-elect Joe Biden. She's no longer the center of the Democratic political universe. Still, Pelosi must grapple with internal divisions. The House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, says Democrats veered towards socialism. Conservative Democrats believe liberal Democrats nearly cost their party the House, and progressives are doubling down.
This term defund, when my constituents and my community is out in the street, heartbroken over far too many people who have been killed due to police violence. And when my community is coming out and saying and demanding this, it's my job to listen.
There are rifts in the Democratic Party right now, especially in the House Democratic Caucus, but that's not going to be up to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to solve. It's up to Joe Biden. Brett?
No, it's so much easier to just be an outsider and critique the people who are doing the hardest thing imaginable, standing up to both Republican and Democratic establishments and doing it without corporate money from the ground up. But no, you get to feel morally superior because your Patreon subscribers
here's
are
the thing.
paying you to just crap on Democrats.
Alternative?
No, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is apparently his alternative.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Tulsi
Right.
on.
The true champion of the working people who's going to stick it to Pelosi, who's on her way out of Congress.
Who endorsed
right now.
Biden?
Yeah.
Here's what's also sort of just incredibly nihilistic about it. First off, as that gap between Republicans and Democrats decreases, right, the power of the squad goes up. 6-7 votes, are very close to making a majority. Now, if this moron, who I think at last check was, promoting the Green Party, if this moron wanted to use any of the massive audience that he has, he would have the Green Party or help a Green Party congressional candidate. Because all you need now is like 3 or 4 of them. And they could be basically leverage those 6 or 7 people. I can assure you that during that interview, and people can go back and look at it, I was getting IMs from people that I care about saying, don't be too mean with him. Do not destroy him too badly. Literally, the quote was, don't take the headshot. Even though it was just sitting right there throughout this entire debate with him, where his whole plan was that Hillary Clinton was going to lose. And then at the time he was like, and then we'll get Elizabeth Warren in there. And the Republican Party is going to destroy Donald Trump and they're going to fall apart. We're going to win in 2022. We're going to win in 2018.
Yeah.
We're going to take over.
That's why Trump was better for progressives than Hillary Clinton.
We're going to take over the Supreme Court because these Democrats, who I think are feckless, are going to finally build a spine and take over the party. I mean, look, because I was arguing like Democrats are feckless. They're not going to be able to stop 3 Supreme Court justices. And he told me that was the equivalent of the moon, worrying about the moon falling in Lake Michigan. This guy is so stupid when it comes to politics. I'm totally in favor of him holding a sign up and promoting any of his causes. But his analysis is completely disempowering. If you as a progressive, and even if you're like, frankly, like I can understand to a certain extent if you're radical to the point where you don't want any of this to exist, that's fine. That represents, with all due respect, a very, very small portion of the American populace.
For
now. But be that as it may, the idea that there is no value in having a slowly growing band of insurgents who have taken out parts of the Democratic leadership, right? And there's no value there. Then there's value in what exactly?
It's all about which team and which personality you don't like. And Nancy Pelosi, we all don't like. So, everyone's under the umbrella of her. And God forbid, AOC called her Mama Bear one time.